Hey there, I'm Joni, founder of GiddyUp GetAway. This step-by-step tutorial video is required for future hosts because your listing will consist of multiple human sites and multiple sites for their horses. It's a little bit more involved. But don't worry, I will walk you through each step to get your property set up on my platform from beginning to end. It's important that you watch this entire video as I will give you all the tips you need for a smooth onboarding process, and I'll warn you about the pitfalls to avoid. So let's get started. Log into your user account at GiddyUpGetAway.com. If you've not set up your user account yet, please pause this video and click the green sign up button in the upper right-hand corner of the website. Follow the steps to verify your email address, and I'll see you back here real soon. Once you have signed into your user account, click Become a Host. I hope you've taken the time to read through this landing page for hosts. It has a lot of information about the benefits and perks, also the steps from beginning to getting paid, frequently asked questions. It talks about our minimum property standards, safety and liability, and of course our host rules of conduct. I do want to let you know that I offer a live Q&A workshop that explains how hosting works. So if you still have questions about hosting or you would like more information about the tools available through my platform, please sign up for a future Q&A workshop. You'll head over to GiddyUp GetAway on Facebook, and then you will find information about the upcoming Q&A workshops right here under the featured post. I'll pin it to the top of my Facebook page so you can easily find it. Important tip to use during your onboarding process: please use a desktop computer or a laptop computer and expand your window screen as wide as you can, like this. And that will allow you to see all of the questions and buttons and options during the onboarding process. We've found that the screen size on tablets and smartphones is too small and it limits your view of all the options. When you're logged in and you're ready to begin the process, you'll click Start Hosting. This page gives you some tips on how to have a smooth startup. There's also a link to this video here that we are going over right now. There are 3 parts that make up your listing: your general property information, all human sites that you'll be renting, and lastly, all horse sites that you will offer for rent. This onboarding process will walk you through all of the steps to list your property on the platform. Please take the time to read the questions and the answers thoroughly. What kind of property will you host? You have quite a few options here. I'll select Hobby Farm and continue. Select the overall acreage of your property. What kind of amenities does your property offer? The answers to these questions are very important because it's used to help our guests sort through their options and find the layovers that best fit their needs. We do add new amenities from time to time, so be sure to sign up for my monthly newsletter so you can stay informed with any updates that we have. Do you allow dogs? You will select that if you do. If you do allow dogs, be sure to write your parameters regarding pets on the property rules pages so guests will know exactly what you expect from them. I'll point out where that is later on in this video. Also, if you have the property set up for stallions and you're going to allow your guests to bring stallions, you will select this box, and then later I'll show you how to set up the stallion stall. So if your property has a big turnaround for large trailers, you'll use this and select it. If you offer public showers on your property, or if you have a public toilet area for guests, you would click these amenities as well. Just keep in mind, our goal is to be transparent about what we're offering so that there's no surprises when your guests arrive. The more details you give them, the more prepared they'll be when they arrive. Is your property a vacation destination? Are you in a location where someone would want to stay multiple nights to explore your area? Are you near horse trails? Do you offer clinics or have shows or rodeos nearby? Do you offer rentals like an arena or a jump course or even obstacle courses for your guests to use? If your answer is yes, check the vacation destinations box. Other activities that people are interested in would be beach riding, bike trails, swimming, fishing. We also add to this list of activities as needed. So if you have a suggestion for a horse-related activity, please send me an email so we can discuss adding it to our platform. Here you will select which activities are nearby and click Continue. Where is your property located? Start typing in your address and you will see addresses start to populate. These come from Google Maps. So if your address is not correct in Google Maps, it won't show up here correctly. Once you find it on the drop-down menu, it will find the actual location, make sure that looks correct, and click Continue. You will need 5 quality photos of your overall property, and then later we'll need 5 photos of each human and horse site that you plan to add to your listing. Each photo must be taken in landscape orientation and live mode must be turned off. If you don't have photos already taken and downloaded to your computer, don't worry. We will use any photo that you have on your computer as a placeholder and we'll replace it later before we publish your listing. I like to include an overall aerial or zoomed out picture of my property. This one includes the barn. You can include your host family, any beautiful sunset or view that they can expect to see while visiting, and then any special features maybe that make your place unique. This is how you'll add your pictures. You'll just click on the empty space. You can click and drag pictures, or you can find them in your documents. Great. So once you have your pictures like you like, or if you're using placeholder photos, we'll replace them later. You do have to put all 5 pictures in slots before you can move forward. Naming your property. When writing a name for your listing, you can click on this link and it'll give you some tips and ideas for how to name your property. You don't want it to be too long. You want it to be easy to be referenced in the reservation emails, while also giving a hint of what guests can expect. Even maybe adding a location helps. So I've chosen a 1925 Red Barn in Oakdale. Your listing description should give general information about your property, the location, and any special activities they can experience while staying. For example, let your guests know a little more about your type of farm or daily operations. Describe any unique attractions that are nearby that they may want to visit, and also any events that they may want to participate in. Use descriptive adjectives about your property to help them envision your special piece of paradise. For mine, I wrote nestled in the heart of Central Florida and engulfed in the sweet smell of orange blossoms is my little piece of paradise. You'll enjoy crystal clear lake views from our hilltop, where you will always have a cool breeze blowing your way. We're conveniently located 1 mile from Highway 27. The entrance road is a 1-lane dirt road, and all sites are secured behind a locked gate. We're about 1 hour from the Disney attractions, and I also want to add that they can help themselves to the ice machine in our barn. Once you've taken the time to think about your listing name and your description, you can click Continue. And now you can see that we have completed setting up our general property information. At this point, you can save and come back later. However, you will not be entering this workflow if you do that. So I would like to show you the workflow from beginning to end. So our next step will be to set up a human site. Each human site must be entered as an individual site with a unique name, whether it's housing you provide, horse trailer parking with hookups, or parking without hookups. They all must be entered individually. Here's a pitfall to avoid. Do not list one parking site and in the description say, we have 10 total parking spots, call us to book. That negates the whole process of online booking and it defeats the purpose of our platform. Let's start setting up our first human site. Be sure to read the information on this tips page. And let's start with housing that you would provide. So for time's sake, I'm just going to demonstrate very quickly, since you already know about the naming and putting in a great description. You'll set your maximum number of guests that you allow, go through any amenities that you provide, select the parking where they'll be so they'll know if they need a four-wheel drive or if it's difficult to navigate to. This helps them to be prepared. And then any extras that you provide for them. Here's our property that we entered earlier. I'm going to move the pin so that they can see exactly where this housing that I provide is located. Again, we have to enter 5 photos before we can move on. For time's sake, I'm going to enter the same one. Again, you can use placeholder photos until you get the final pictures that you want to use. Just be sure that you remember to switch them out before you publish. Set your price here per night. Your cleaning fee is a one-time fee. It is not a nightly fee. And it's that simple. This time, let's add another human site and let's select a horse trailer parking site. Here you want to talk about the hookups that you offer. If you don't have any, just select none or no electric hookups here. I have water. It is a well water. I don't have sewage. I do have a dump station nearby. The parking is grass. And again, I provide the charcoal grill, fire pit, picnic table, internet. And again, we're going to take the pin for this site and move it where it is on my property location so they'll know exactly where they will be. I'm using placeholder photos. Set your price. I do not charge a cleaning fee for a hookup site, but you have the option here if you choose to. Most of you will have more than one parking site to offer your guests, which is great because a lot of times people are traveling in groups and they're traveling with multiple horses. So we've entered a house that I provide for my guests, and I've also entered a parking spot that I provide for my guests. Let's move on to enter our first horse stall. So we will set up a horse site here. Be sure to read the tips. This is where you can select stallion stall if you chose to allow stallions on your property. I'm going to choose a regular stall here. Select the size of the site that you're offering. I have my layover set up to where I'm doing as minimal as possible, and I price it accordingly. Here you can move the pins to show where your stalls are located. Again, it's very helpful to provide photos of each individual site, any amenities that you have, if you have automatic waterers or fans or rubber matted floors, anything that would help your guests know exactly what the setup is, just for transparency's sake and to help them be better prepared. This is going to be stall number 1. It's very important that you give each site a different name because these site names will be used in the email confirmations once the bookings take place. Description, I would definitely talk about anything in particular that they would need to know about this site. Set your price. I do not charge a cleaning fee because in my property rules, I make it clear that they will be cleaning up after their own horses. But this is your business, and you can take the liberty to set up your business plan the way you want it to operate. So here we have set up our first stall. I would like to show you that you can also set up a paddock or an arena, a pasture. Some folks have an empty pasture, and so what they're doing is they're using the metal fence panels and putting them together to make smaller pens within their pasture. And the lovely thing about that is when you need to give the land a break, say you've had a rainstorm and it gets real mucky, you can easily move those metal pens to a different location within the pasture. The other thing I love about that setup is because now your guest horses have 2 layers of fencing. They're in the pen inside a pasture. And here we will move the pen to show where this horse site is located. The first photo that you put in will be your cover photo. I am going to use the same picture for time's sake, but I do want you to know that on each of the sites and your overall, please use pictures that really will allow your guests to see exactly what they're renting so that when they show up at your property, there are no surprises. So this is going to be named Arena Number 1. In the description, be sure that you identify how many horses you will allow in this space. So based on the size of my arena, this is going to be for guests that are traveling with 2 to 4 horses max. Of course, please use complete sentences and tell any pertinent information that they would need to know about this arena in your description. Set your price, cleaning fee if you decide to charge one. And now we have added housing provided by host, a trailer parking site with hookups, 1 stall, and 1 arena. I would like to point out that it's important you do not intermingle your guest horses with your own herds. It's also important that you don't allow guest horses to be intermingled unless they are traveling together. I offer multiple stalls, but instead of manually entering them in this onboarding flow, we're going to continue to publish, and I will show you how to make a copy of the trailer site and the stall that we've already entered, and it will save you a lot of time in the future whenever you're adding all of your rental sites. If you click save and come back later here, I want you to realize that you will not come back to this onboarding flow. From now on, if you save and come back later, you will be accessing this listing through your host dashboard, and I will show you how to find that later. Before you publish your listing to our website, you will have to enter your information with our payment processor, which is called Stripe. Let me show you the steps to get your account connected with Stripe so that you can get paid. You'll enter your email address, your phone number, and then you'll have to go through the steps of verifying. You can set up your account either as an individual, if that's how you want to be paid, to an individual bank account, or a company or a nonprofit. This is where you will be entering your personal information. Here you will enter your social if you're signing on as an individual, or your business taxpayer EIN number. Business website. So Stripe is very particular and cautious about who they allow to use their platform. I suggest you use the GiddyUp GetAway website as your business website. This is because Stripe does not allow a website that offers things like knives, guns, tobacco, CBD sales, or any other type of flagged content. So to be safe, use the GiddyUpGetAway.com website here and continue. And this is where you will select your bank. And this is where you will log in and connect your bank account. Now, I do want to point out that I've partnered with Stripe because they win awards for their trust and safety. So everything you enter on this Stripe onboarding process will be encrypted. I do not have the information, and no one at Stripe can see the information. That's part of their safety tools. So you would actually enter your credentials to log in to your bank account, and then it will connect, and this process will take you back. You'll have to verify. Select which bank account you want your proceeds to be paid into. If you want to save this account with link, you can do that now. I'm not going to do that. So we have completed the process now. I would like to point out that you need to be sure that if you're being paid as an individual, that the address that you've entered here matches the address that you entered when you were setting up your bank account. If you're wanting to be paid as a business, again, The address and your business name will need to match the address and name that the bank has on file for you. That is the process of getting set up with Stripe. That does have to be completed before you can publish your listing. So at that point, you can click Publish here, and you've got a couple of options. You can look at the resources pages. We'll go over that later. Or you can head to your host dashboard. We'll spend a little bit of time looking at both of those pages so that you're familiar with it. Let me show you how to find your host dashboard. The login button will appear up here if you still need to sign in. Once you're signed in, click on your profile icon, and in the drop-down menu, select Host Dashboard. When you open your host dashboard, the default page is this reservations page. This will show you a snapshot of any people that are checking out today, people you're currently hosting. Arriving soon will show you who's coming in the next 24 hours, who's coming up beyond that time period, any pending reservations that you need to accept or deny. And this card will show you any pending reviews that you need to leave for past guests. This page gives you a great snapshot of your reservations that you need to accept or deny, those that are coming up, those that are leaving, and also who you need to leave reviews for. The calendar page is the second page that makes up your host dashboard. It shows you a visual of which of your human and horse sites are booked, available, or pending. It will also show you any sites that have been blocked off from being booked in case you need to do site work or take a break yourself. To block off specific sites for specific dates, you will use this box, Block Off Dates, here on the right side of your screen. I do want to note that if you are also listed on another platform and your site gets reserved, you can easily block them off here so that you don't double book. I have looked into syncing my GiddyUp GetAway calendar with other rental platforms, and I found out that it is very expensive and it would make our platform overpriced and too expensive to be able to operate. So right now you will have to block those off manually if they get booked on another site. To make a temporary price change, you also use this box, Toggle on Price Change. Select which site you want to change the price for and the dates that the change is effective for, what's the new price, and then update. The third page to your host dashboard is here, the listings page. This is also where you will find the listing that we just set up. Now, my chart here looks very full, and that's because these are demo properties that I've used in the past. But here's the listing that we just set up, and this is the one we're going to be working with today. I would like to point out that you can host more than one location with GiddyUp GetAway using the same dashboard, and when you're ready to do that, you would click Host Another Property. In your chart, I want you to pay attention to this status column. So the listing we just set up has been published. Some of them will be in draft if they have not been published, and some of them will be in the archive mode if you need to take a break, or maybe you sell the property. You'll want to come in and archive it. So on this listings page, we'll find the listing that we need to modify and edit, and you'll click the Actions button on the far right. In the drop-down menu, select Edit. And now you can see the listing that we started setting up. Over here on your left navigation bar, you've got the page to edit the general property information, which is what we've already set up. Maybe you want to stop being a vacation destination. You can easily do that here. This is where you'll also go to change out your placeholder photos. This is where you can move the pen around to show the exact entrance to your property. I like to do that so that people know where they're turning off the road so that they can end up at the right spot. So always click Save after you make any modifications. And notice our status changed to pending changes. That means the changes that we just made are not on our website yet. We would have to click Republish again in order for those changes to show up on the platform. Let's go back into our listing. edit. And now let's change our human sites. So we set up this parking site, and I need to duplicate that because I have more than one parking site for people. So I clicked the actions button and make a copy. And now you can see our copy right here. You will do that for as many sites that you need to set up on your listing. Notice this one's in draft. When you make a copy, it saves you a lot of time. The only thing you need to do is go back in, give it a unique name so that it can be referenced correctly in our reservation emails and confirmations. Change out any photos that you need to. Make any modifications to the pricing. And then what I think is very important is to move the pin so that people can see exactly where that site is located on your property, and then always update or save. So this is still in draft, and that's okay. I'll show you how to change that in just a moment. Also, I want you to note if you need to add another human site, you can do it here. This will walk you through the process of setting up a trailer site or housing provided by host. So if you're going to add sites in the future, don't start a new listing, just add to what you've already got going on. On our left nav bar, let's look at all of our horse sites. These are the ones we set up so far. And I've got some more stalls to offer, so I'm going to make a copy. Again, you would do that for as many stalls as you need to add to this listing. Actions, and let's edit this site. And this is now going to be stall number 2. Make any modifications, change out your photos, move the pin to show where it is located on your property, and save. Also, on your listings page of your host dashboard, you have your property rules. This is where you will establish your check-in time, your checkout time. Remember, this is your business. You operate it and run it however you see fit. We just give you the tools to make it a lot easier and to streamline the process for our guests. So you have some drop-down menus here. This is where you will establish how your property is set up, and it gives your guests the facts that they need to know. You'll go through each of these. Remember, I talked about if you're going to allow pets, you're going to want to add your custom rules here. And anytime you make a change, you're going to update or save. Okay, let's go back, see where pending changes. So let's go back to our listing. Now it's no longer published. It shows that I made changes that have not been published yet. It shows my extra trailer parking site, my extra horse accommodation. So in the actions button, click republished, and now that will show up on the website. And it's that simple. I want to show you some of the other actions that you have here. Select view, and this is your listing in a nutshell. Everything you just set up is right here. This is also the free website that we provide all of our hosts. It's fully functional. Your guests can contact you here using our inbox. They can search available dates and see exactly what you have available for their travel dates. Once they decide which accommodations they want, they'll add it to their little checkout cart here. I do want you to know that guests are required to select a human site first before they start reserving the accommodations for their horses. The reason I set it up that way is I don't want guests dropping off their horses and going down the road and staying at the Marriott. That becomes a boarding situation, and that's not what we're about. So they will be selecting human sites before they select their horse sites. You can see it gets grayed out here. That is how the software is designed to keep you from double booking your sites. It will not be available to anyone else. The other great thing, we have access to our cancellation policy here, where they can read all about that. And once we get rocking and rolling, you'll have lots of great property reviews down here. Let me show you the inbox. So when they click Contact Host, they will be able to send you a message, and I will show you where you will find it. In your drop-down menu, in the inbox. So anytime someone sends you a message, it will be here. You will type down below your response. Potential guests can send you messages in your inbox. They may have a specific question that they need to get clarified before they finalize their reservation. When someone sends you a message to your inbox, you will receive a text alert telling you to log into your GiddyUp GetAway account and check your inbox. Please respond to guests as soon as possible. I suggest you use this inbox also to collect and safely store any important documents that you require, like animals' health certificates, Coggins reports, any liability waivers that you require. Request those as soon as the reservation is booked. GiddyUp GetAway will store these documents for you indefinitely, so you don't have to worry about shuffling around a lot of papers. Speaking of liability waivers, if you're brand new to hosting horse-friendly layovers, you can join my Facebook hosting group where we collaborate and share insider tips to help each other out. I don't offer a liability waiver for all of my hosts since hosts are from all over the USA. And states have different requirements, but the Facebook hosting group is a great place to collaborate with other hosts in your state as a starting point. Okay, the last thing I want to show you is how to find the guest dashboard. So you will see that is here. So Map Your Trip is a game changer for equestrians. They can map their route and see all of our hosts along their way. You will type in where you are starting from, where you want to go. You can start selecting if you need housing provided by hosts. You can put in any special requirements that you have, like if you're traveling with dogs or stallions or in a big rig. It will only show you hosts with those special accommodations. Click search and it maps your trip and shows all of our hosts along your way. I do want to point out that if you're in a big rig, you can also select this. And now the navigation routes will only keep you on the larger highways. The other feature that we have on our search bar is you can search by state. If you want to see hosts just in a certain state, you can now see those folks. The other feature is vacation destinations. Say you want to explore a region, which is the whole reason why I started GiddyUp GetAway. You can select the region or state actually, and you can also narrow down your results based on the fun activity that you want to enjoy while you're there. So I want to be near horse trails, so now it only shows me hosts that are near horse trails. I do want to point out that GiddyUp GetAway is not a navigation platform. So after the reservation is booked, it should not be used to guide travelers to their destinations. I also want to point out that this is a website or web application. It is not an app that you download from the App Store. I discovered that Apple takes 30% off the top of most apps, and that expense would make our platform unaffordable to operate. So users can pin the URL to the screen of their smartphone and use it as an app, and there are instructions to do that on our resources page. Once you publish your listing, you will receive a series of emails that will guide you through the steps of using your host dashboard and also tell you how to promote your listing to get more bookings. Please save these emails so you can refer back to them in the future, and understand that if you opt out of receiving emails from me, you will not be trained properly on how to manage your listing, and you'll also miss out on new releases and updates that come in our monthly newsletter. Updates would be new activities and new amenities that we make available to you. Thank you for hosting with GiddyUp GetAway, and I look forward to working with you and making horse travel a frustration-free experience. And as always, if there's anything I can do to make our platform better, please reach out to me at hello@GiddyUpGetAway.com or fill out the Contact Us form on the platform. Happy hosting!